For this month, I'm answering questions from you all, from readers of the blog and viewers of these videos, and this week's question comes from Farhad. Farhad asks, how do I know if I've made a good decision? Does poor decision making have a look to it? Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to things that I've learned from the science of decision making that are just broadly useful in everyday life. And as always, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe because it really helps the algorithm know to get this video out. Side note, if you have a decision question that you want answered, put it in the comments below or send me an email. Let me tell you a story about one of the worst jobs I've ever had. Now, I've talked about this job before in other videos. I'm not going to get into the details of the job, except to say that it really was a dream job when I took it. But that job for me required moving to a different country, and I ended up doing it right at the beginning of the pandemic. I also was deeply unaware of the political situation that was happening at that particular institution. I ended up lasting that job for about 2 years. So a failed job choice, but was that necessarily a bad decision? You could say yes, because it ended up not working out well. But to say that, you'd be doing something that the former poker player and author Annie Duke calls resulting. Resulting is judging the quality of a decision based on what happened afterwards. But you're not in control of the outcomes of a decision. Like it was out of my control that a global pandemic was happening. Judging the quality of a decision based on what happens after you make it is a fallacy. What makes a decision good or poor is how it stacks up against the information that you had at the time that you made the decision. And there's a super useful framework in decision science called the decision quality framework, which lets you judge whether a decision was good or bad, irrespective of what happened after the decision was made, right? Because what happens after the decision was made is out of your hands, but you can still judge how good the decision was based on 6 things. 1, was the frame correct? Were you making the decision you needed to be making? And more importantly, were you not making the decisions that you didn't need to make? 2, was your choice set, the options that were in front of you, was it creative enough? Was it broad enough? 3, did you have relevant and reliable information? 4, had you articulated your values and your trade-offs appropriately? 5, did you have sound and articulatable reasoning? And 6, was there a commitment to action? A decision is only as good as the action that comes after it. So if you can look back at a decision that you made, irrespective of how it turned out, and say, given the information that I had at the time, I had the right frame, I had creative options, I had relevant and reliable information, I had articulated my trade-offs and my values, I knew my reasoning, and I had a commitment to action, if you can look back and say all 6 of those were in place given the information that I had at the time, then no matter how it turned out, you made a good decision. This video is getting long, so I'm going to end it here, but the blog post has 2 extra things. 1, we dig into all 6 of those. What does it mean to have relevant and reliable information, for example? And 2, I talk about how costly it can be over time to learn the wrong lessons about what makes a good and a poor decision. You can find the blog post on my website, markschreim.com/blog, or you can find it on my Substack, solvingforwhy.substack.com. Check it out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next week.